This is a story of Benedict Arnold and how he was a patriot, a hero, and leader, but became a traitor. Benedict Arnold was born into a semi-wealthy family in the state of Rhode Island. His father, Benedict III, was a successful merchant in barrel making. Arnold dreamed of going into battle. He ran away twice to fight against the French, only to be called back by his mother. Arnold's mother died, and not only did he take it hard, but so did his father. Arnold ended up moving to New Haven, Connecticut, and lived the life of a wealthy Englishman. He stared out the window to the busy harbor. Arnold was a prominent citizen, and in 1763 he married the sheriff's daughter and was very happy with his life. They had 3 children, but he traveled more because of England's new taxes. He, like other New England traders, became a smuggler. British enforced taxes, and in 1770, troops fired into a mob later known as the Boston Massacre. 3 years later, Americans threw cargo over in a protest called the Boston Tea Party. In April 1775, British regulars and Massachusetts militiamen fired at each other. Benedict was always the kind of man known to take action. He went to the powder keg to get powder. Benedict and 50 men went to Lexington to join up with the other colonists against the British. When he got to Lexington, he thought there wasn't any form of leadership. Arnold remembered that there are cannons at Fort Ticonderoga. He talked to Massachusetts authorities about making him a colonel so he could get troops to capture Fort Ticonderoga. When he arrived there, he met with Ethan Allen. They had an argument on who should lead the men, but they came to an agreement that they would attack together. They were victorious, and success at the fort gave the colonists hope. Benedict was a hero. Returned home, his wife had died. Now he could turn all of his attention towards the war. He wanted to make Canada, including Quebec, a part of American independence, the 14th colony. He was named admiral and led the march to Quebec with 1,000 men. But his map was completely wrong, and they had to travel twice as long as expected. He joined forces with a general named Montgomery, and they charged Quebec. However, the British were not at all surprised by the attack. Montgomery was killed, and his men ran for their lives. Arnold was surrounded and got shot in the leg. He was forced back to cross the border to New York. Thousands of British were pouring into Canada. Arnold and his troops built docks and shipyards because they wanted to control Lake Champlain. The British were also building a fleet. They both finished at the same time, and one sailed north and the other sailed south. They met in the middle. This was known as the Battle of Valcour Island. Despite his heroics, the Continental Congress didn't recognize Benedict Arnold, and he didn't receive the promotion that he felt he deserved. He went back to Connecticut to resign. The British invaded Connecticut and burned Danbury to the ground. Benedict with 2,000 men fought back. The Continental Congress was embarrassed because Benedict helped fight off the British once again. They promoted him to Major General finally. Benedict proceeded to turn in his resignation, but George Washington needed him. He wanted Arnold to head to the north to stop the British invasion coming down from Canada. On the final day of Saratoga, Benedict wasn't in charge, and General Gates told him to stay in his tent. Arnold couldn't take it and escaped out of the tent and led attack after attack into the British lines. His horse was shot down and Arnold took a bullet in the thigh. Despite being a hero, he had disobeyed orders and was arrested. Gates took all the credit. The French aligned with the colonists because of the Battle of Saratoga. Washington appointed Benedict the military commander of Philadelphia. He became an elite in Philadelphia and fell in love with 18-year-old Peggy Shipman and got married. Peggy was a loyalist and supported the British. Benedict realized all the trouble he had with the Americans. He felt ignored by the Continental Congress for all his great battles. He needed money, and Peggy was loyal to the British. Arnold turned his coat. Arnold provided information to the British for over a year and sent messages through Peggy. He took advantage of her relationship with John Andre and provided the plans for Fort Ticonderoga at West Point, the most strategic spot of the war. Benedict wanted £20,000 from the British in exchange for the plans of West Point. He gave them to Andre on the banks of the Hudson River. Andre put on civilian clothes and went up the river with a pass from Benedict. He was jumped by thieves and the plan was exposed. Meanwhile, Washington was on his way to Arnold's house. He was aware of Andre's capture and what Benedict had done. Andre was sentenced to hang. Benedict escaped and fled to New York. He was then appointed a brigadier general for the British Army. The British did not trust Arnold. They didn't want to follow the orders of a traitor. They fought, slaughtered Americans, and attacked the town of New London, Connecticut, burning it to the ground. Benedict was despised by many. He left for London and worked for King George, but was never liked or trusted. Arnold contracted a nervous disorder and was dying. He asked Peggy to help him put on his Continental uniform one last time.
Let me die in my old American uniform, the uniform in which I fought my battles. God forgive me for ever putting on any other. Benedict Arnold, 1801.